Hi friends. Be cut. Brain is creating a thought. This is called Point Piso. I am going to express some ideas based on historical facts using deductive thinking, connecting the dots. Before I begin, I'm going to express a truth, a fact that nobody brings up. There is no scholar, mentally healthy atheist, or anyone, even a religious psychotic, that brings up this fact. And let's bring up this fact once and for all so you understand what I'm talking about. That is all based on logic, facts, deductive thinking, and reality. Again, the brain, we are product of coitus, which is a fuck. I mean, it's not an opinion or it's not a theory of mine. No, it's a reality, it's a fact. We are product of a collision between a sperm and egg. Product of over 3 billion years of evolution, series of accidents. And it's bacteria and viruses that evolve. So the viruses and bacteria that we have in all our bodies, and with the DNA, all life on the planet Earth has DNA. We are related to everything on the planet Earth, and this is a scientific fact. It's also a scientific fact that after the collision of sperm and egg, initiated by a female of the species that stimulated the penis of a male, he became erect or resurrected. He shot sperm, fertilized the egg, blastosis, zygote form, series of mutations on the DNA, and we emerge out of a cave 9 months later with a blank brain. Now, this is a fact that blind, mentally healthy atheists never bring up when discussing reality and discussing the religious psychosis, the schizophrenia of people that believe in God and demons and spirits and alien abductions and crap like that in this 21st century. Dawkins never questions the sanity and the mental health of those Christians that he interviews. As a matter of fact, I don't think Dawkins had no idea what Christianity is, as well as Harris and many other intellectuals. And the others, in my view, the others study neurology and understand their origins, that they were created by a fuck. We're all created by fucks. We are born with a blank brain. And atheists never mention this, and never question the sanity and the mental health of those Christ-psychotic, infected imbeciles stuck in the Middle Ages that believe in resurrecting zombies and Bible and Islam psychotics and people with ridiculous and stupid theories, anti-science and pseudoscience and all that crap. And the atheists are scared that don't question the sanity of those who they interview. But I'm going to talk right now after explaining this fact, which is exactly like 2 + 2 = 4. Exactly the same thing. We are evolved mutated primates that create thinking, the mind, with our brains. When the brains malfunction, or suffer trauma, or have a problem with the brain, then it cannot tell between fact and fiction. That's at the root of all religions and mental disorders like schizophrenia. There is absolutely no difference between the imaginary friends and bizarre mathematical beliefs of people that believe in God and religious and all that to the bizarre metamagical beliefs found in temporal lobe epilepsy, schizophrenia, people that all of a sudden ingest drugs. If you're mentally healthy and you're an atheist, mentally healthy, that's what it means. Lack of believing crap in God, shit like that. And if you believe, all of a sudden, suddenly, you start, you're having a problem with your brain and you start seeing apparitions and speaking in tongues and like that, and all this stuff like that, then you cease to be an atheist because you all of a sudden have believed in nonsense. You're just like a schizophrenic, having all these delusions. Then you're no longer an atheist. But I'm going to talk today about titles. About the titles of kings. It's just the words of how you express them. You can call somebody President of the United States, a POTUS. You can call somebody an emperor, a son of God. You can call him a divine entity. You can call it a God-anointed person. You can call somebody an expected divine being. You can call somebody the Son incarnate on earth. These are all titles. And I'm going to explain how the titles divide, and all of a sudden after millennia, you believe that this title is actually a person, which it is actually a title of a person. It divides into two people. In ancient time, people had brains, and they conceive ideas and many, many languages and epigraphy and imagination with the brain. The brain. Today we know that's what we think with. And we create the titles of kings in thousands of languages. Because right now there are 8,000 languages on the planet. So what is a god? A god has many, many, many names. Even the Virgin Mary has many, many, many names. A mother goddess is the same thing. The sun god has many, 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 many names. And the kings use the sun god as a title. Like Ramoses. Moses means son of. And you have Ramses is Moses, son of, and Ra is the sun god, which is also Atun, and is also Zeus and Apollo, and just name it. So you have Ramses is son of the sun god Ra. It's just one of thousands of titles created. If you have a king of rock and roll, which is, we say Elvis Presley, but it could be Michael Jackson or Prince, depending on the age or the time, and it might be a Queen, the different groups. It can be the Beatles in a sense, and so you have it's a title. So these titles, mutate and change name, and this is in English. Now imagine in 1,000 languages, somebody that plays guitar and does this, the different titles that they are given to these people. And there's all these translations. This translation of different language, one to the other, over the centuries. So the title can have a life of its own. Life of its own. And they're all related with our Creator God. And of course, the Creator God of males is our penis. That's what we create with. God is cock in many ways. Also, the penis has many, many names. Rod, verga in Spanish, and and all that. And it's just mutations, and it's just a penis. And the same thing with all the sexual organs, and they're like titles of a penis. This cock, the bird. You see what I mean? So the same thing happens in all the titles. It's like POTUS, President of the United States, a title. Personification of United States of America is Uncle Sam. You cannot find Uncle Sam in history if everybody thinks he's a person. And the same happens to Jesus Christ, which is also a mutation of Archereos Megistos, and many, many, many other mutations of a title. It's not a person, it's a title of a person. Over thousands, 40,000 years ago, there is epigraphy that makes my point. The sexual organs were worshipped as gods, and they were also identify with the stars, with the life-giving rays of the sun. And when males, they play with their pipis and they become erect because of testosterone and the many hormones, and of course the copulins emanating by the lady's vagina menstruating activated the brain and made people wanted to copulate with females, and of course receiving orgasm in the process. They saw their penis. The penis was a manhood. It was the idea of a sacred object that gives us this amazing orgasm. And of course, when they have orgasm, you see things. And of course, people in ancient times, they took entheogens and different roots and mushrooms and peyote and all that affected the brain, and you will see the gods. But the main thing is that they were wondering about the penis of the king, the creative tool, this tool that was so powerful. You look at the shape of the tool. And of course, you have a rod, and you imitate the rod. And you have a baton of command. You have a stick that you can hit people with. Tool, but also it means power. There's a Nazi one, by the way, with the symbol of the sun, swastika. But then you put them on your head. You have the idea, you see the head, the penis looks like a snake, and it's uncircumcised, the skin comes out, and this thing comes out just like a mushroom. So the mushrooms were all phallic and all symbol. You see psilocybe mushrooms, and all these things. But you can start making all this relation of these things. So you try to, to equate this, to imitate and emulate the snake. You try to emulate the rod. And so the idea of helmets and conic things, symbol of this rays of the sun, which is a star things, but that became later. But you equated your penis as a symbol of authority, and you put it on your head. That's what the beginning helmets came out. And from early times, because you can see that in here. Where do you think this comes from? Everything has a pointed idea. Look at this. And from the Egyptian times, and even before, you have this penis-like things. And you see that eventually on the helmets also. And in many religions, you see that. You see this idea, like in this helmet. See the ridges, everything. And that's basically when you start putting this on your head. That's what it meant. It was just that you're the virile. You have the dick on your head, symbol of authority. That's just why I call, of course, our penis as penis Christ. And also, the elements. You breathe the air. You have the air. That's the reason in many the priests and all that. Besides that, they use cloth that you pick up the air, you put it on your head. It's only on sacrifices when you pick up the air and you bring the spirit, and then you do the ceremonies. You're trapping the spirit world. They had no idea what the air was. To them was the spirit world. It's like you're breathing the spirit. That's where the soul comes from. But everything was related to sexual organs. It's very, very important. And then it will connect with the titles of the person. It's like when you call somebody an architect. That's a title. If you say, bring up the architect, you'll say, which one? Bring up the POTUS. Which one? Well, President of the United States. Bring up the King of Rock and Roll. Which one? Bring up Moses or Ramses. Which one? Bring up the Jesus Christ. Which one? Because all the Roman emperors since Julius Caesar were anointed entities, anointed divine kings, which they were from Archerios Megistus, Jesus Christ, and everything mutated in languages. And also, in the mythologies, the Nordic sagas and the Vikings and Odin and Loki and all the different gods, they all have these conical hats. And of course, these are more modern because the real ones happens 10,000, 15, and 5,000 years ago. And with the Egyptian actually began. But you see Loki, and you see the conical hats, and you see also, it's a lot of symbolism. I can explain, and I can explain all of this with no problem. But it will take me hours and hours and hours and hours. But I will connect all the dots, and you understand where all the symbols come from. Even the swastika. People don't realize. This here is the cross gamma because it's a 7. See, these are 7s. There are 4 7s. It's a Greek letter, gamma. So they call the cross gamma, the swastika representing the sun. But see, and they can go reverse. And that's because of Bustrafedon. Bustrafedon was the way of writing in Latin and in Greek. The earliest examples, you write like the plow, going back and forth. In other words, you write with the letters, going from left to right, and then from the right to left in the second line, but the letters are reverse, mirror. That's the reason in the Russian alphabet, the Cyrillic alphabet, introduced to Russia by the chrysocratic infected imbeciles of Constantinople in the 9th century, the brothers Cyril and Methodius, those piece of shit assholes. They're trying to convert people in Russia, the Rus, the different tribes, to Christianity, thanks to the emperor, the piece of shit chrysocratic infected emperor of Byzantium, the chrysocratic infected imbecile of the 9th century. That's the Christianity remained. The Roman Empire remained in Byzantium after the Rome fell. But then they gave him this writing, the Cyrillic alphabet. But anyway, that's what the swastika represents. It's a symbol of the sun. Okay, so these idiots that don't have no idea. Because, Hitler was a Christian man. He was infected with Christianity like all Europe was. So he combined Lutheranism and Catholicism and then Roman, German, pagan religion. But pagan means of the tribes. In other words, the religion of the Roman Empire was extremely tolerant, and thousands of different rituals and gods, and the days of the year were sacred days and ceremonies for everything with many gods, which gave the empire tolerance until the Constantine, the crazy guy, chrysocratic in the 4th century, decided to have one religion into the only worship of the Christus, which was actually Julius Caesar, but by that time they have mutated. His title of Jesus Christ had already mutated into a person that nobody can find. That's why you cannot find crucifixion. Never happened. It's a mutation. It's misimpelling. The Romans impel people. They put them in there. But the crucifixion idea with the cross, which is a symbol of the sun, became an example of torture because they put the wax image of Julius Caesar in a symbol of victory, which is the cross with this crown of thorns, which is a acantha. Thorns means the rays of the sun god, and they put all this crown of this bushy laurel type of thing on the Roman divine priest and sons of God like Julius Caesar, the Christus, divine. But they have many names, so the whole thing mutated. So all of a sudden you have the Jesus Christ in Jerusalem, the Roman province of Judea, Palestina, a guy that was a Jew and born of a virgin and all that crap that nobody can find this. And I want to explain to you why. These are called Hermes, gods, but you see with an erect phallus and a young god, like the Etruscan god, the L'Uomo della Sera, of the evening. There's another story too. But anyway, Tages, it was boy Tages, and I believe that's what the German word Tag, that means day, comes from the boy Tages of the Etruscan god, a little baby that came out from the fields and created the whole world. But it's erect. But the idea of it's like a cube. That comes from sacred geometria. That comes from the symbol. They didn't understand. When they come up with Pythagoras and geometric shapes and mathematics, and these shapes became sacred. So the cube became sacred, and then trying to incorporate the cube with the goddess, like Kibele means cube, and if you go to the Kaaba and you go around the black cube, you know, it's a goddess. And underneath the Kaaba is a Roman fort, Roman temples of Kibele underneath Lutetia, which is Paris. The name is actually Lutetia. That's the name of Paris. So under Notre Dame of Paris is a temple of the goddess Kibele, the mother goddess. But the mother's Kibele, which means cues, have tons of different names. So it mutates a title of Virgin Mary, mother goddess. But it's all related. But then you have sacred geometry. The triangle was a sacred shape, the cube was a sacred, and then they incorporated it with the gods. But it's very confusing. So they're trying to put all these sacred shapes, geometric shapes, in context with the personification of a person, with the phallic, with the head of our penis, you know, the glans penis that shoots the milk, which is equivalent to the lady's breast, which it looks like a gland penis, and it shoots milk, the same liquid that gives life. But that's where the whole thing comes from. So titles were everywhere, and they became living things. They became people after centuries and centuries. And one interesting one is Cleopatra, which is Ptolemy Philadelphus. You know, the Jews say Ptolemy Philadelphus. He developed the Septuagint, the 70 books of Moses. But virgin vaginas are also equated with grapes, with different type of objects. It's like they equated oysters with a vagina, and also snails with male penises. And they have all these symbolisms and all these really personifications and titles of things. If you can call somebody the great dick, well, the great cock, the great assholes, the great hole, you know, the great idiot is a title of a person, the great buffoon. You know, these are all little titles that you can give somebody. But interesting, Ptolemy Philadelphus. It was from the General Ptolemy, one of the generals of Alexander the Great, that was a god, considered a god. I mean, amazing man. But Ptolemy Philadelphus was the one that was in control of Egyptum, in control of Egypt, after Alexander the Great died, and all his generals took over, you know, Parthia and Persia, all these different places, and they formed their own kingdoms. This is about 2,300 years ago. But Ptolemy Philadelphus was a very intelligent man. They call it Philadelphus, Philos, you know, like philosopher, you know, lover of knowledge. The man was amazing. He built a library. Knowledge, Greek knowledge, wisdom, and he bring all that gematria and all this. Amazing. And then also he built the Pharaohs, a lighthouse. So it was considered, it was great. But they always say that the 72 books of Moses, that's what the Jews said. You know, he gave them the Septuagint. You know, Ptolemy Philadelphus ordered books to be written by these scribes, and they all come up with the same exact book. They were all different in different places as writing this stuff. The 72, they were not 70, 72. They made a 70 to have a round number. That's what the 72 virgins and grapes come from the Islam psychotics, the same mutations. But anyway, Ptolemy Philadelphus sent all these scribes to write the so-called books of Moses, and they all came up with identical. That's the Septuagint. But then, who was Ptolemy Philadelphus? He was a divine ruler. He had many names and many titles. Have you seen the titles of the Queen of England? Goddess of this, no goddess, but a duchess of this, and countess of that, and baroness of that, and lady of that, and all these thousands of titles, and all thousands of names everybody has. Well, Ptolemy Philadelphus had that tower, and he was also, he said, the books of Moses. But Ptolemy Philadelphus was a Ramesses. He was a Moses, son of Ra, son of God, sun god Ra. So when they say he gave that, in other words, Ptolemy of Philadelphus was also Moses. It's a title. It's like POTUS. Kennedy is a POTUS, Washington is a POTUS, Nixon was a POTUS, Obama is a POTUS. So this happened. But now let's go over to Cleopatra, the descendant. Brilliant, incredible lady. And she had a title, Lady of the Two Lands, Goddess of this, Goddess Isis Incarnate, and thousands of other names. Another name that she was given, a title, was Lady of the Tower, referring to the pharaohs. And of course, I'm talking to you in English, But in those days, the tower, big tower is Magdal. You can look it up. It's Magdal, Lady. Lady Isis is Mary, Maya, and the many names of the goddess Venus. Many, many names. But of course, one is Isis or Maya, like the Virgin Mary, the mother of Julius Caesar, Venus, the goddess. Well, it was Lady of the Tower, which is Maya of Magdal, or Mary Magdalene. That's reason. Jesus Christ is, the lover was Mary Magdalene. There was also an apostle and wrote all this book. And nobody can find Mary Magdalene in history anywhere because it's mutation. It's a title, Lady of the Tower. So there are tons of them. When you understand that and you connect the dots, very easy to see that. Jesus Christ is the title of Julius Caesar. And the same thing with you can see all the Roman emperors were divine. Jesus Christ, high priest that performed miracles like Vespasian. So when Advil, this crazy guy that was brought up in a Christian home, Christ psychotic infected imbecile, and writes a book of the Flavian conspiracy to invent Jesus, it's like inventing a title? What an imbecile. The guy doesn't know any history. He should go and get educated and read the accounts and connect the dots and the different people wrote history, like Plutarch and Suetonius and Ovid and all these great, brilliant writers, and they understand, Jesus Christ the title. So when he said the Flavian conspiracy, Flavius, the Emperor Vespasianus Flavius was a son of God. It was a Christus. It was a Jesus Christ, and have had many, many titles. That's what he doesn't understand. Caesar was Jesus, or Jesus was Caesar. The title of Caesar, Julius Caesar, the divine Julius Caesar, the son of Venus, was the title of Jesus Christ, the son of Mary. And he had two Marys, mother and Mary Magdalene, the lover. It's right there, obvious. The earliest examples, you write. Now, keep in mind, everything that I present is based on facts. I do have the evidence to back everything that I say. And remember, we create the mind with our brains. DNA, neurons, all the... So if you believe in God in this 21st century, and you believe in all these conspiracy theories and Satan and demons and crap like that, you're sick. Your brain is malfunctioning. You're no different than a schizophrenic. There is no God. We create gods with the brain. In other words, but God is cock in reality. If you want to call anything God, call you Dick a God, because he does create and he gives you orgasm. He blesses you with orgasm. And he does the prime directive of life on the planet, which is to pass our genes. The only life after death, Christians and other deluded folks infected with this Christ psychosis, is bacteria eating your rotting remains. We all have bacteria and virus all over the place. They are our ancestors, our relatives that live with us. So I hope you enjoy this fact. I don't bullshit. I just tell it like it is, and with the evidence to back it up. I never believe anything that I read or anything. I have to connect all the dots, and then you can see all the pixels forming the beautiful image, all based on reality. Pachi